everybody. This is Ryan McClanahan with HistoryThroughCards.com. I hope you're all doing very well. So, yesterday in a video, I was talking to you guys about a lot of the negativity that I'm seeing on YouTube and with other content creators. And I want to really kind of get away from that. I really don't see that there's a whole lot of purpose to that. I know negativity sells and negative news sells, but I think there's a lot more positive aspects to the hobby. The hobby for me really has been phenomenal, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a card collector. I'm saying that because it's given me opportunities to learn and to be educated and to advance my collection and my knowledge. And I really wanted to share what I know with other people. Um, at the same time, I really go on to other sites, and I really want to find out what other collectors are saying as well because I don't know everything, and I don't want to know everything. Um, but I do like to know what other people are saying, and they may have other insights that I've never thought about before. And so last night I was on Ryan from Breakout Cards on his channel, and I don't know Ryan. I've never met him. I've never spoken to him in person, but I'm very impressed with him and his knowledge of the hobby. Um, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see what he does in the future with sports cards. He's a very hardworking guy. Um, and so he had on a gentleman last night named Ian Peniston. And what I found really fascinating about this was that Ian is a British card collector. And it's not often that I get to listen to what the British have to say about the hobby. The hobby actually goes back a lot further than it does here in America. Uh, Jefferson Burdick ended up creating a hobby essentially through through I think partly the coin industry at the time, but the hobby, the I should say, the sports card hobby goes back to about 1927 in England, and um, what was really interesting about this was Ian's perspective on British card collecting. Um, I actually got into the sport of cricket because of Ryan talking about it and showing his uh, cricket cards. It's a sport that I've always kind of been interested in, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to go down the route of collecting the cards. One of the things that cricket has, I think, a problem here in the United States, as does maybe tennis, golf, and maybe horse racing as well. Well, I definitely think horse racing, but is that it's a worldwide sport and it has a major following, just like soccer does. Um, but it doesn't have a very major or a large influence in the hobby. Um, but both soccer and and again horse racing is something I've collected for a long time as well. And now it appears cricket as well. I got into some of those cards because of Ryan's influence, but it was also something that I really wanted to do and find out more about. So I spent quite a bit of time researching cricket, I should say, cricket, um, and how it's played, and then going and actually watching some videos of it. I don't pretend to understand a lot of it. I still have a way to go, which is fun for me. Um, but one of the guys that they were talking about last night was a gentleman by the name of Don Bradman, and this is I'm gonna screw this up because you know English is I butcher the English language quite often. This is a 1934 amalgamated press. Oh, I tried. Anyway, this is Sportsman of the World, Don Bradman, and the artwork is the first thing that caught my eye. The set has a lot of great athletes, some excellent artwork, and it also has a card of Max Baer as well, which I'm trying to get my hands on right now. I love the design. I love the card itself and the artwork. Um, the one interesting thing uh, that Ian had said was that you definitely have to do your homework, and I really found this to be true with these cards. Um, and so I'm going to show you a few other British cards. I've been collecting these for maybe 20 years or so. And so the first one right here is it's Lambert and Butler, 1936 dance band leaders. And you'll probably notice who this is, Duke Ellington. Uh, now this is the guy that my grandparents would have danced to, and I love big band. I always have. It has a very calming influence on me. And every time I write an article, I try to um, put the music on as I'm writing, so it gets me in the headspace, and in the era in which I'm writing. So I will always continue to love big band, and Duke Ellington is definitely one of my favorites. Not all of his music, obviously, but I'm more of I think maybe a fan of Artie Shaw and Glenn Miller, definitely. Um, and and anyway, uh, another another card is right here. This is um, Jimmy Braddock, and this is from 1936, or I think 1937. Sometimes they get a little confusing because in the back of these cards, it'll say um, champions of 1936 or XXX of like 1939 or whatever, like a horse racing set. Will's Horse Racing, I could be wrong, has that as well, and it's from 1938. I don't have one here on me. I'm sorry. Um, but uh, the one thing that you also know Jimmy Braddock as well. He was in Cinderella Man a couple of years ago, which was an excellent film. He does have a few other cards as well, but this is probably one of my favorites. Um, and um, Another card is from the same set, and it is Jesse Owens. Now, when I purchased these cards, they were like $5 a piece. They were not as expensive as they are now, especially Jesse Owens. And he's in a movie called Race, which I really enjoyed that movie as well. Um, this card has gone up substantially, and I don't think I would be able to afford it today, to tell you the truth. So I did buy a few of them, and I bought one uh, probably I think pre-pandemic as well. So I think I have about 3 or 4 copies of them. The thing is with these cards is is that they were saying last night as well, Ian and Ryan, were that you really have to do your homework because Um, Ian was saying that a lot of these cards from the 1930s over in Britain were placed in a warehouse, and some of them you will notice, and I'm going to show you in a minute. You can notice the cards that were never issued compared to the cards that were. The one thing I'm going to say about Odgins and John Players and I think Wills was that it's kind of like the British version of the American Tobacco Company, in which there was about I think 5 to 7 different companies that were placed all in one trust, uh, one conglomeration. Um, and that actually has a problem uh, further down the line. I think that started in, man, I want to say about the same time that the American Tobacco Company was dissolving. The American Tobacco Company is still around. That that monopoly did uh, ended up getting two in the hat in 1911, 1912, but they had a really hard problem trying to figure out how to safely dissolve a company. And one of the questions there, and I know I'm getting a little off topic, but one of the questions that the Supreme Court had uh, was that, okay, you can dissolve a company, you can break up a monopoly, but is it the right thing to do? M- would it be more of a problem to do that? And that's what happened in about 1912. That question was asked, and I go through that and a few of my articles. Um, anyway, so we see the kind of the same thing over in Britain. They produced millions upon millions of cards back in the 1920s and the 1930s. So it's really important to try to do your homework and figure out what is rare and what isn't. And the other thing too is, which I said before that I'm going to get to, is this is actually I got into soccer and I I'm not all that interested in soccer. I know it's it's tough. Um, it's tough for me to learn about some of this stuff if I haven't really followed it. There's Baseball is a lot easier. It's kind of like for me, it's like breathing. Like I know what an RBI is. I know what a hit, a run, and the same thing with cricket too. So I know cricket is very popular in most of the world, and same with soccer. I just have a problem trying to figure out what is important when it comes to statistics. And I'm going to try to learn as much as I can. But I had actually bought this because at the same time, I believe last year, I heard a few of the names Stanley Matthews and Dixie Dean being very popular players over in England, and they are superstars of their sport and their era. And I got really interested in trying to learn more about them. So this is from 1936. It's called The Pilot. It's actually from a newspaper or a magazine, and this is actually it's kind of brittle, so I'm gonna do my best not to break it. But you're gonna notice. All right, so this right here, and where is he? That's Dixie Dean right there. He's one of the greatest of his generation, as far as I can tell. Um, and so what the one thing that you're gonna want to notice up front, and it's really kind of hard to tell through um, things like eBay and photographs on the internet. But with this kind of thing, um, this style, these cards are actually folded into the paper. And sometimes on a lot of these cards, you're going to see like a crease, which is I think what Ian was talking about last night. And there's two different kinds. So I'm sorry, there's this right here, that kind, and then there's this right here. So a lot of these cards are going to have creases, and a lot of other cards that are also, I think the later ones from like 1936, 37, 38, around there, are going to be pasted or glued into the album. And I don't know what that does to to values. In fact, I know that I think the London Cigarette Company has a book of values that Edward Wharton Tiger developed, and he is the Jefferson Burdick of the hobby over there. So I don't know what that does to the value of having something stuck or glued in. Some people kind of like it because they have the entire set. Now I've noticed that um, eh, trying to complete a set by hand is extremely difficult. I've done it maybe once with a 1939 horse racing set, which I really like. I think it's the Wills horse racing. I could be wrong. I've got so many damn sets. Anyway, um, and then there was another card I wanted to show you as well, and that is this right here. And I think I may have shown it to you in the last video as well. Um, anyway, it's not Steve. Steve Donahue is where is he's right here. So he's one of the famous Donahue brothers. I think there were five of them. They're all jockeys, and I do like horse racing quite a bit. There's a baseball aspect to parimutuel betting, which I think I've discussed before. But the one thing I really love about this card is a it's the chase. All right, so I've been trying to chase this card for probably a good 15 years or so, and I've only seen it online maybe a handful of times. I've never seen it in person. So a lot of collectors will tell you that um, seeing a card online is a lot different, or seeing a card in hand is a lot different than seeing it online. Um, and it's definitely true. So I've never been able to get a hold of this card. I don't think it's particularly expensive. It's just trying to find a copy here in the United States, and that's true with a lot of this stuff. Um, that I think that overseas, Great Britain, France, Australia, Germany is some of the places that I've had to go to get this stuff. I do get a little nervous at times, honestly, especially if it's a dealer that I don't know. And because there is, the possibility that you're not going to get your card or something wrong. Um, but Lord Carnarvon, I think you guys might already know this. He's one of the central figures in the expedition to find King Tut in 1922. And and Howard Carter. Howard Carter actually found it in 1922, as all you guys know. One of the things you guys might not know, and something I didn't initially know either, was that um, Lord Carnarvon was the financier to that. He was also a horse racing owner as well, which is why he has a card. This, as I said, is the 1914 Owners Racing Colors and Jockeys set, and is quite interesting. But he ended up um, nicking himself shaving, and that's when they actually ended up, uh, um, in the media started uh, the curse of King Tut, and the curse of the mummy, and the movies based on it. But that's what he's really kind of known for today, and not horse racing at all, which is kind of too bad to tell you the truth. Um, anyway, so there's a lot to British card collecting and Australian card collecting as well, and you can get a lot of really neat stuff from Germany as well. A lot of the Nazi propaganda cards as well. Um, and I think you do really need to do your homework first before you purchase some of this stuff. But it's pretty fun. And the other thing too is that a lot of times that it's really the only place that you're going to find certain Hall of Famers, especially in tennis and golf. And I'm gonna get to some tennis and some golf stuff with you guys at some point. And I think I also have a a mention about Joe E. Brown, the actor, as well. I think I promised one of you guys that. There's a lot to do, a lot to cover as well, on one day at a time, guys. So anyway, with that, thank you very much. I hope you all have a good day, and like and subscribe if you want. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you don't. I know I still have some work to do on the on this right here, which is so I've actually no, I know that the you have to turn up the volume when I'm talking, and you know I've tried this before, and I'm still working on it, and there's something going on with it. So that's going to be in the future as well. And so again, thank you very much. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.